There's nothing more fulfilling or powerful for achieving your goals in life than waking up each day filled with a sense of purpose and mission. Hi, this is Dane Spotts. If your life isn't filled with a passion and excitement, just experiencing being alive, then you're missing out on something really important. In this very special audio workshop, we're going to discuss this idea of mission and explore an underlying principle around which to organize your life. The concept of creating an organizing principle may be the most powerful thing you'll ever do for yourself, because it will shape your life automatically and provide a clarity and focus that awakens unbelievable hidden forces to drive your daily activities. This is a very unique audio program, unlike anything you've ever received from me or from any other company before, because it's not just about having conversation. So let me take a moment first to explain how this program is organized and how you can use its processes to explore your passions and direct your life journey in positive and fulfilling ways. On the first side of this tape, I'm going to talk with you about this idea of life mission and help you understand a process for creating an underlying principle around which to organize your life. We're going to go through a conscious process for exploring your feelings and options, and by the end of this discussion, you should have a very solid tool you can immediately employ in your life to set new directions. Now, this may appear as if this is only a discussion about work or career, but it's actually much broader than that. We in the Western world tend to define mission as our career or job, and so that's the primary context of how people will use this tool. However, work doesn't just mean money-making or career-related activities. Perhaps you'll discover your passion takes you into directions that have very little to do with money-making activities, and your existing job or career life is simply a support system for your true higher purpose. Anyway, you'll figure it out later, especially as you go through the unconscious mind-probing process on side 2 of this tape. On the flip side of this cassette, you'll discover a very unique soundtrack I put together that uses a number of different technologies, including alpha, theta level of consciousness, guided imagery, visioneering technology, and affirmations. The process is designed to activate your unconscious mind and open up a channel to your inner voice, which can provide you with an incredible source of clarity and wisdom where you can explore new possibilities and life directions that ultimately will lead you to write a life plan of purpose or mission. So to begin, listen to the rest of this discussion on side 1 and do the conscious exercises I'm going to talk about. It will lay the groundwork in your unconscious for what's going to occur with your Supermind session. At the completion of this mini workshop, you should have a powerful personal philosophy and a step-by-step method for defining your life plan in writing. Then when you've completed this and are ready to move forward, turn over this cassette for the final stage of your journey. Okay, let's begin. There are 3 aspects to the active conscious part of this program. The first is an understanding of what I call the principle of choice. The second is the creation of an underlying principle around which you'll organize your life. And third, once you're aware of the principle of choice and the master principle around which your actions are to be organized, the third step is to make the changes necessary in your life that will align your activities, both personal and professional, around your path of purpose. So then, step 1 is to get an understanding of the principle of choice. Because if you don't get this at a core level, then the rest of this exercise will be extremely difficult. Norman Vincent Peale had this to say about the power of choice. The greatest power we have is the power of choice. It's an actual fact that if you've been moping in unhappiness, you can choose to be joyous instead, and by effort lift yourself into joy. If you tend to be fearful, you can overcome that misery by choosing to have courage. Even in the darkest grief, you have a choice. The whole trend and quality of anyone's life is determined in the long run by the choices that are made. How true, isn't it? Choosing is the most important activity of your mind. Why? Because it creates a focus. Every choice we make sets into motion powerful hidden forces in the universe that cause those choices to become reality. A choice made in the mind gives instruction to your subconscious autopilot to make it so. Indecision not only creates stress and confusion, but it's like having one foot on the accelerator and the other foot on the brake. The subconscious or unconscious mind doesn't question your decisions. Only your conscious mind does. The unconscious simply carries out whatever instructions you give to it. So it's important to be precise and to choose your thoughts carefully. It's also important that you recognize the power of choice in the context of this discussion, especially when doing the next step, which is to create an underlying guiding principle around which your life will be organized. And it's your ability to listen to your intuitive voice and follow up on it that will create true power of purpose in your actions. The choices in life become your goals. If it's truly what you desire and it fits your higher purpose, then there's no reason why you can't have it. None whatsoever. But beware of asking others to make your choices for you, or for that matter, patterning your choices in life around what others expect you to be, or what you think you should be, based on how you measure your life against someone else's. To thy own self be true. What's right for someone else may not be right for you. And the way you'll know that is by checking in with your own inner voice, which I'll get to later on in this program. It's been said many times and in many ways, but the primary law of the universe is this: whatever you give your attention to will become your experience. You have free will. Your life is simply the result of the choices you make, and the primary law of the universe is that the reality we experience is based on what we focus our thoughts upon. Due to the time constraints of this mini workshop, I'm not going to go into an in-depth discussion on why this is so. I'm asking you to accept this premise. You'll be able to test it out for yourself in the real world as you put these ideas into practice. So, moving on then. If you accept this idea, then assume you had an overriding thought, or a guiding principle, if you will, around which your entire life is organized. And assume that this thought is very specific in nature, something easy for you to articulate into words and feelings. A motto, perhaps, a poem, or just a simple statement that becomes you. If your life were a movie, think of this as your theme song. Around it, you will shape your life's activities. This underlying principle, or theme song, if you will, becomes the foundation on which you will build your life's experiences, and it creates the motivation for fulfilling your purpose. Now, don't assume that this is an oversimplification, because frankly, it is the process. Literally, if you create an organizing principle around which to shape your life, and it resonates at the very core of your being so that you think of it every day, you'll begin to live it automatically. And it will become you, and you it. I know because I walk it myself every single hour of the day. Let's do a quick mini exercise that calls up some of the feelings associated with creating this underlying guiding principle. And then I'd like to tell you about a simple process I used some 12 years ago that guided me on my personal path and has opened up many doors of possibility in my life. What I'd like you to do is to go back in your memory and remember a time when you had a super clear sense of purpose in your life. Maybe this was when you were in high school or college and you participated in sports or drama club, or perhaps a time when you were deeply in love or planning to get married, or maybe you decided on a career path or just purchased a new home. It doesn't matter what the incident was, but pick some tangible period in your life where you were extremely focused on one thing, and you were very clear about what you were doing and why you were doing it. No distractions or difficult decision making. Your choice was clear. Okay, do you remember such an incident? Now, focus for a moment on your emotions. How did you feel about your life during that time? Were you happy? If so, why? How sure were you at that moment about your future? How passionate and excited were you that very moment you realized your choice was the right one? Did you feel an overwhelming sense of purpose and meaning? If you conjured up a past memory during the last few seconds and you looked at it carefully, I'll bet you relived a peak experience of extreme emotional clarity and sense of purpose. With that kind of clarity and focus, and the resulting passion and excitement, is the result of having a clearly defined sense of purpose which overrides all of their daily distractions. The world could be getting nuked, but you simply don't care because you're in love or you're receiving a standing ovation in your school play. When you're acting out your specific desires and it fits your higher sense of self, you're in a mental space where life takes on a new color and meaning. The grass seems greener and the sky a little bluer, and you feel incredibly alive. The reason? Because your mind is plugged into doing specific actions which support a strong sense of purpose. You're living it, not just thinking it. This is an important idea because it's at the center of being alive, and it maximizes your personal power in life. Living your purpose is like this, a feeling that every day is an adventure along your path of fulfillment. Believe it or not, there are people who every day go about their lives with a passion for living and a clarity of purpose that guides them throughout their day. And because they have this overriding principle that guides their life, they're impervious to life's little roadblocks and misadventures. Any detours are seen not as major roadblocks or hindrances, but as little lessons to be relished along the path of higher purpose. A couple of years ago, I remember renting the movie Joe versus the Volcano. Perhaps you've seen it. Well, there was this one scene I'll never forget. Joe, played by Tom Hanks, was out in a ship in the middle of the ocean with Meg Ryan. Tom Hanks' character Joe was a guy who led this really dreary, unadventureful life until he met up with Meg Ryan's character and her father, who sent them on this mission around the world. Anyway, while this guy was experiencing adventure for the first time in his miserable life, Meg Ryan said to Tom Hanks' character, Joe, something her father had told her, and it was this: 99% of the people on earth are asleep, and the 1% that is awake is in a constant state of amazement. Becoming awake and aware of the incredible dance of life going on all around you is the most empowering of life's experiences. And when you're directed and experiencing life fully is when you feel the most awake. So what is it that directs these individuals and gives them such personal power? Well, because they have a clear sense of mission, of what they want and what they're about, a core guiding principle, if you will, there's no confusion about what actions to take. Such individuals are more focused and able to accomplish much more in less time because they aren't working at cross purposes with themselves or concerned about how others see them. They're in motion. Now, as we grow, activities and goals can change and they can evolve, but usually the underlying principles do not. My personal goals have changed and evolved throughout the years and through a process of constant refinement, but the underlying principle around which I have organized my life has not. It's not important right now that you create the definitive mission statement, but rather that you start to make choices in a general sense around a basic underlying purpose and check in with your inner voice periodically as to the rightness of those choices. Over a period of weeks or months, it will become clearer and clearer for you. Just a footnote here. This isn't a goal-setting exercise. Goals are fine and a way of defining and accomplishing specific desires. But your sense of purpose or life mission is bigger than a goal. It truly is a master guiding principle. To give you an idea of how powerful this idea is, let me tell you my own personal story and how I use this in my life to create not just a business, but what has truly become my life's work in a way that has totally blurred the line between my private and professional life. Most of my days are spent playing in my sandbox I created for myself. My hobby and my business have become one. My lifelong learning quest and my business have become one. And so for the most part, I spend my day doing many of the things I would want to do anyway, and deriving satisfaction beyond just making a living. This is the idea of doing what you love and loving what you do, which I'll talk more about in a minute. First, here's my story. I left home at age 16. I dropped out of high school and began working some of the worst unskilled labor jobs you can imagine. By age 19, I was earning $3 an hour working graveyard shift on a shipping dock while attending college during the day. And I was miserable. I felt overworked and hadn't a clue where I was taking my life. And I truly wanted to do something with my life, make it meaningful, make a contribution, do creative things with my mind. But I didn't know what that was or how I could possibly change my circumstances. After 3.5 years of drifting through college and working heavy labor jobs full-time to support myself, I decided the only way I was going to find my path was to be on my own, doing my own business. So at the tender age of 20, I borrowed $5,000 and went into business. 4 years later, my net worth on paper exceeded $1 million. Yet I was still miserable. I hated the business I was in. It was negative, and even though I was successful at it, I was angry at all the effort I had to put in, and I felt empty inside, like something was missing. I just wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And when you're in that mode, you become self-sabotaging and destructive. Your energy is unfocused because, frankly, what you're doing outside doesn't match how you think and feel inside. And eventually the whole thing is going to break down. Either you'll quit performing, or you'll sabotage the job, or your relationships will become strained, or whatever. You'll not achieve your potential because you're just not passionate about the direction you've chosen. I was stuck. And because of this, by the age of 26, I'd lost most all of my net worth and had to start all over again. And you know what? Most people, they're in this mode in their lives right now. They feel stuck in their careers and relationships that aren't going anywhere, or feel powerless to escape their situation, when the truth is they really have a choice. They just don't realize it. We tend to create comfort zone ruts for ourselves. Because of fear, we hold ourselves back from trying new things, even though we know we're unhappy with our present circumstances. And part of what's so liberating about the process you're about to undergo is that the truth will set you free. Once you've learned to really see your life for what it is and isn't, you can begin to construct a new blueprint to guide you into daily activities that will fit your higher purpose. Anyway, back to my example. I was in a business that wasn't happening. I was unhappy with the direction of my life, and I felt I really didn't have a lot of options. I didn't believe, because of a down economy, that I could sell my business, or so I thought at the time, and I was working 14-hour days trying to keep my head above water, and I felt miserable spinning my wheels. Then one day, and this was about 12 years ago, I decided that I'd had enough. And I remembered sitting up all night one evening and mapping out a blueprint for what my life was to become. And this is the seed of the process I'm offering you. Now, I had no idea at the time how powerful this simple process was or how it was going to be, nor that I was planting a seed that would transform my circumstances from that day forward. Here's what I did. First, I made a conscious decision not to focus on what was going wrong with my business or my life. No, instead I decided to start with a fresh piece of paper and to clear my mind of all distractions and write down what I thought my life should be about. I sat at the kitchen table and decided to sit there and do this no matter how long it took, until I was satisfied with the answer. Now, your mind can play tricks on you, and I knew I needed to strip away any existing baggage about my current situation. You see, we tend to project onto future events and the world in general our negative perceptions of our present reality. So I needed some way to clarify my situation. I really had no tools at the time to help me except that blank piece of paper, and I knew and understood the power of words. So I wrote on the paper the following: I am now free to choose my destiny. That was it. And I sat and stared at those words for about 2 hours. Sounds kind of corny, I know, but it was a sort of meditation that worked to clear out the cobwebs and allow me to see that I really was free, and I could tell my inner self that I can be anything I wanted. After about 2 hours of imprinting onto my brain that I was truly a free spirit and could write my life plan however I chose, what happened next was the home run. Here's what I wrote on the top of a blank piece of paper. Things that give me meaning in life are... And then underneath it, I began writing the first things that came into my mind. No matter how stupid sounding, I just wrote them down. Well, that took about another hour or so, and I had about 20 different statements. I didn't look at my list until I'd finished writing. When I was done, I looked back at the list, and lo and behold, there was a recurring theme. And for me, that theme was my relationship with ideas. What I discovered was that I had a love affair with ideas. the development and organization of ideas, especially ideas that surrounded the theme of human potential and personal growth. I discovered I loved playing with ideas. Ideas to me were precious possessions that were incredibly empowering. They were the stuff that got me interested in exploring new ways of thinking, ways of looking at and solving problems. In my business, I was often accused of making things more complicated, just so I could come up with ideas that would solve problems. Anyway, I realized that ideas, learning new information, adding knowledge, questioning assumptions, finding new ways to do things, this was my passion. In my business, I loved the idea development process, the massaging of a new idea or new venture, new ways to solve customer problems, and the associated growth and learning that went along with it. Okay, so I liked ideas, so what? Well, anytime you're really passionate about something, there's an energy that just jumps out of your body and attracts you to the things that you're passionate about. I realized at 2 a.m. that morning that my life must be about ideas. I must organize my business and my personal life around this in some way and find a way to immerse my daily activities with ideas and with other people who loved ideas as much as I did. So what really turned me on was the adventure of exploring ways to expand human potential, tools that expanded thinking, tools that expand creativity, new ways of altering belief systems, ideas that myself and other people could use to make their lives fuller and richer. So I kind of lumped it all together into an ambiguous phrase called self-improvement. And from that defining process, I wrote my master guiding principle, around which I created my company, and through which my personal dreams and goals are being achieved. And even though it may sound a little corny after 12 years, I'm still pursuing it, and it consumes my every waking moment. And here it is. My mission is to seek out ideas and tools that add to people's understanding of themselves and empower them to create better lives. I intend to look throughout the universe for ideas, no matter how far-fetched, and turn them into specific tools and processes that offer opportunities for self-discovery and personal growth. Well, they say you teach best that which you most need to learn. Welcome to the second part of How to Find Your Mission. In this very special exercise, I'm going to take you through a guided imagery process using the Brain Supercharger audio technology woven into the soundtrack. What's going to happen here is we're going to go on a mind journey, if you will, into a probable future and open a channel to your inner voice, the source of intuitive wisdom. The point of this exercise is to seek answers to questions about your path of purpose, and by awakening your inner voice, get the best possible advice on possible directions that you'll ever receive. The purpose of using the Brain Supercharger audio matrix in the background of this session is that it's an extremely powerful tool for altering consciousness and directing the focus of your mental energies inward. So, how does it work? The frequency matrix coaxes your mind to slow down and focus on the directions provided in the narration. The result offers you more than just a relaxed catnap. In this state of consciousness, you are at a heightened level of awareness, and your mind is at peak receptivity for psychological programming and suggestion. Like a deep hypnotic trance, you're able to focus your mental powers and achieve an incredible sense of clarity. If you've experimented with other Zygon programs, you already have some idea of what this state of consciousness will feel like. With the process you're about to experience, we're going to direct your mental energy on the specific question of your life's mission to discover your path of purpose, or at least options and possibilities. This may come in the form of visions or images, or you may hear a voice, or it could be just an impression or an overall feeling. The point is, you already have the answer buried deep within you. This exercise will help you bring it to realization. A few comments before we begin. This is a powerful process of self-discovery, and I should warn you that it may dredge up unresolved feelings and conflicts in your life. When properly understood, this can be a very positive aspect to this meditative process, because to move forward in life, we need to let go of our negative past experiences. To move forward, it's sometimes necessary to dredge up the murky sands of our negative mind scripts so that we can release them. However,
Because this process can be cathartic, it's important that you realize if you experience negative feelings or painful memories from doing this exercise, it's because there's some sort of block or unresolved emotion that you need to deal with in your life. If that occurs for you, I suggest that you address it by looking at it, writing about your feelings in your journal, and allowing yourself to let go of it. If you're in therapy, I recommend that you discuss this process with your therapist. For most people, going through this exercise will be very positive. A sense of joy and purpose will fill you with a new energy and focus. You'll see more and more clearly who you really are and your role in the universe. Now, this feeling may be fuzzy and nonspecific, or it could hit you like a lightning bolt. It depends upon how ready you are for this knowledge, and how much negativity that you're holding inside, and how often you experiment with these tools. I recommend that you do this tape once a week. You should keep a journal record of your progress, and you should be doing other brain supercharger or meditative sessions at least 3 or 4 times during the week in between your Path of Purpose sessions. Why should you do this exercise more than once? Because even if you get powerful insights and knowledge the first time you plug in, you'll discover incredible revelations on the subsequent mind trips, as well as a deepening of knowledge. I know you will find value if you persist and have the patience to wait for the right answers. So, how will you know if the answers or the images that you're receiving are accurate and right for you? The best answer I can give is, you'll know. This is an intuitive process that addresses the heart within the mind, not your brain. You're going to effectively shut down the analytical side of your mind and open a channel directly into the unconscious mind. There, I think you'll discover a vast universe of intuitive intelligence and inner peace, with a voice unlike anything that you ever experienced before. You'll just know the answers are right for you. And as you test them out in the real world, you'll see what I mean. So, how do you know if you're doing this exercise right? By not thinking or doing anything except just being. One of the biggest complaints I hear about the use of this process is from left brain dominant individuals who, because of their personality or their vocation, are extremely analytical and judgmental. They're constantly looking for measurements of progress, questioning the validity of their experiences, and asking for proof or validation outside of their own experience. Now, there's nothing wrong with healthy skepticism, but to make this process work, one of the principal tenets is to suspend your analytical mind. It gets in the way of your intuition. The best advice is to simply go with the flow. This is not an intellectual process. It's experiential. And it's not measurable by some standard of science. We're tapping into the unconscious mind, and these are totally uncharted waters with mysterious powers no one yet understands. Yet it's simple to explore if you're willing to suspend judgment and trust the universe with a childlike mind. Let yourself go into the experience without trying to analyze or measure it, and you'll be amazed with the empowering results. Well, that's enough of our discussion. Let's get into the session and see what happens. What I'd like you to do at the end of this program is to have pen and paper ready, because you'll want to jot down everything that you remember from the experience, the images that come up for you, as well as your feelings. This is an important aspect of this process because writing clarifies your thinking and will help you remember and connect your visions and feelings with your experiences. Now, some technical things. You must use stereo headphones when doing this session. So if you haven't done so yet, please plug in your stereo headphones now and get into a comfortable position. We're ready to begin. You should hear my voice clearly through the headphones. Relax. In a moment, we'll begin.
Relax. Relax. Breathe deeply. Inhale and exhale. feel your breath as you inhale and exhale. Focus only on your breathing. You have nothing to do now except be here, paying attention to nothing but your breathing. You are relaxed and feeling fine. Every breath you take makes you more and more relaxed and focused inward. Your mind is clear and aware as you hear my voice. You are here and alive. Feel your aliveness. As you breathe in, imagine you are breathing in a pure, clean force of energy. This energy is flowing all throughout your body. The more you breathe, the more relaxed and alive you feel. From now on until the end of this session, with each breath you take, you allow yourself to relax more and more completely. Picture yourself sitting on the beach. Notice the sounds of the ocean as the waves roll in. Smell the salt air as the wind brushes against your face. Notice the greenish-blue color of the sea against the rocks in the blue sky above. Notice the seagulls flying above you. Listen for the gulls as they sing and glide above you. Now you're going to walk along the beach. As you walk toward the water, the sand feels warm against your feet and toes. You feel the warm sand squish up between your toes as you walk. As you get closer to the water, feel the wet sand under your feet. Bend down and write your name in the sand. Now see the ocean rush past you, around your ankles, and as it returns, taking your name with it. the sea is warm and feels good. Bend down again and write, I am free, in the sand. Now, see the wave rush past you and surround your ankles. You feel safe and secure in the ocean of life. As you return to the dry sand, you turn your head and look to the left and then to the right. These are the sands of time, stretching endlessly into the past and future. Now turn your head to the right, where the sands of time are stretching into the past. Notice a fog that prevents you from currently seeing beyond it. Turn your head and look to the left. The sands of time stretch endlessly into the future. Notice a fog bank that prevents you from currently seeing beyond it. In a few moments, we're going to walk down the beach to the left, into the fog bank that is currently clouding the future. Turn to the left and begin walking into the cloud bank. You are walking into the future. The fog bank surrounds you. It is cool, refreshing, and comfortable. You may stop walking now. Just stand in the fog. In a few moments, I will count down from 5 to 1. When I reach 1, the fog bank will be completely dissolved, and you will find yourself 10 years in the future. You will see yourself living the life you are meant to live. A life filled with purpose and meaning. Any experiences you have, you will view as if you are watching a movie. And you will have complete awareness of all detail of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You will be able, with incredible clarity and peace of mind, be able to see and recall your vision of the future and what you will become. I am now going to count from 5 to 1, and you will go progressively into the future to 10 years from now, to see yourself living your life mission. You will see yourself clearly living your path of purpose and understand your life's mission completely. 5, 10 years in the future. Look around you. What do you see? What is your work? What other people are you with? Are you joyful and filled with happiness? You have found your path of purpose. You understand and see it clearly. You are living your purpose. See it. Experience it. When you are ready, say goodbye to the future and return to the present.